You know the name. It's one of those places that's become a global legend, a place where ships and planes supposedly just vanish. We are, of course, talking about the Bermuda Triangle. Now, we've all heard the wild stories, aliens, portals, you name it. But today, we're going to follow the evidence, not the fiction. And it all starts with the one event that kicked this whole thing off.
This is it, the moment the legend was born. You've got 5 U.S. Navy bombers. They're on a totally routine training flight. And then their commander sends this chilling final message. They were never seen again. Neither was the rescue plane sent to find them. This single, tragic event lit the fuse for a mystery that would captivate the world for decades.
So first things first, let's get our bearings. We're talking about a massive 500,000 square mile patch of the Atlantic Ocean. But it's not just big, it's also one of the busiest shipping and flight corridors on the entire planet. Now remember that little detail, because it's going to be really important later on.
And of course, you can't talk about the Bermuda Triangle without talking about the really fun stuff, right? The wild theories, alien abductions, shimmering portals to another dimension, maybe some leftover high-tech from the lost city of Atlantis. These ideas have turned a simple spot on the map into a modern-day myth. But what if the real answer is actually hiding in plain sight? What if it's even more fascinating than fiction? So today, we're going to put on our detective hats. We're going to investigate this thing not as a spooky story, but as a scientific puzzle. We'll follow the clues from geology to oceanography and see if we can finally crack the case. All right, our first suspect isn't an alien or some sea monster. It's the ocean itself. You see, this particular region is famous for its incredibly volatile and just angry weather, which can cook up some truly terrifying stuff. For literally centuries, sailors would come back with these stories of walls of water just appearing out of a calm sea, big enough to swallow a ship whole. And for a long time, scientists kind of patted them on the head and said, sure, sailors' yarns. Until we got satellites. And it turns out they are terrifyingly real. I mean, think about it. 100-foot wave. That's like a 10-story building of solid water suddenly deciding to stand up.
So how on earth does a monster like that even form? Well, in the Bermuda Triangle, you've got these powerful storms that can come together from all different directions. When those huge wave systems meet and overlap just right, their energy adds up. And boom, you get one single monstrous wave. It can slam into a massive cargo ship with enough force to literally break it in half, sending it to the bottom in minutes. No time for a distress call, no wreckage, just gone. So the danger from the surface is very, very real. But to find our next clue, we have to look deeper, way deeper, all the way down to the seabed itself. Okay, stick with me here. Deep under the ocean floor, this area has these huge, frozen pockets of methane gas. You can almost think of them as giant underwater gas bubbles just waiting for something to happen. And scientists think that if the temperature shifts or maybe a small underwater landslide occurs, those pockets could rupture. And when that gas erupts to the surface, it turns the water into a bubbly, fizzy froth. All of a sudden, the dense water that was holding a ship up has the consistency of, well, champagne. And a ship cannot float on champagne. It would lose all buoyancy instantly and sink like a rock, even on a perfectly calm, sunny day. It's a pretty compelling theory for how a ship could just vanish off the face of the earth. And there are 2 more little pieces to this natural puzzle. First, you've got the Gulf Stream. It's basically a massive river inside the ocean, and it moves so fast, it can grab wreckage and carry it hundreds of miles away before a search party even gets there. And then there's this weird thing called the agonic line. It's one of the few spots on Earth where true north and magnetic north line up perfectly. So for old-school navigators using a magnetic compass, if you didn't account for that, you could get sent way, way off course without even realizing it. Okay, so rogue waves, exploding ocean gas, these are all awesome scientific theories. But the most powerful piece of evidence, the one that might just blow this whole mystery wide open, isn't found in the ocean at all. It's found in the databases of insurance companies. And this is the question that changes everything. We know bad things happen in the Triangle, but given just how many planes and ships pass through there every single day, do bad things happen more often? Well, the data is in, and honestly, it's kind of boring. According to the people who actually insure these massive vessels like Lloyd's of London, the Bermuda Triangle is perfectly average. It's not even in the top 10 most dangerous waterways in the world. When you compare the number of accidents to the sheer volume of traffic, the rate is completely normal.
So what's really going on here? It's something called confirmation bias. It's all in our heads. We expect weird things to happen there. So when a normal, tragic accident happens in the middle of the Pacific, we see it as just that, a tragedy. But when the exact same thing happens in the triangle, our brains go, aha, see? It's the legend. It's proof.
So you'd think that's it, right? Case closed. Science solves the mystery. But one of our sources offers a completely different way to look at all of this, suggesting that these very scientific phenomena were actually described with stunning accuracy a long, long time ago. This verse comes from the Quran, and it describes the state of being in a deep sea with layers of darkness and waves. Now, the source material we're looking at draws this incredible connection between this ancient description and the very things modern oceanography has just recently discovered. Let's break this down. The deep sea, they say, corresponds to deep ocean trenches. Okay. But this part, a wave above which is a wave, this is fascinating. The interpretation is that it's talking about the surface waves we all see, sure, but also another, more powerful set of waves that move deep within the ocean itself. We call them internal waves today. And the darknesses? That's interpreted as the pitch-black environment of the deep ocean, where sunlight just can't reach.
And here's the real kicker from this source. We've known about surface waves forever, obviously, but these powerful, deep, internal waves? Science only confirmed they existed in the 21st century with modern technology. The argument here is that this ancient text described a complex, hidden ocean phenomenon 1,400 years before we had the tools to even know it was there. So, in the end, we're left with this really interesting idea. On one hand, the legend of the Bermuda Triangle seems to be pretty neatly solved by science, a mix of wild weather, weird geology, and just statistics. But for some, the real wonder isn't the mystery but the possibility that these very scientific facts were described so accurately centuries before their discovery. And it leaves us with one final thought to chew on. When science solves a mystery, does that make it any less of a miracle? That's for you to decide.